Good morning, friends. Once more, I welcome you all in this history session, chapter number 3, Nationalism in India. This is the fifth video about this chapter, and this will be the last video. And you will be coming to know about the each and every point about this chapter because I have collected the information from your textbook itself, and that's why you will be coming to know the detailed information of this chapter from these my all 5 videos. Okay, I have uploaded it one by one. Okay, my name is Gajanan Gulghane, sir. Please share my channel and subscribe in a large. Now the question is, what were the reactions of industrial workers to the civil disobedience movement? Dear children, you came to know that civil disobedience movement had started in the year 1930 after the completion of the Dandi March. Okay, and how now we have to discuss here what were the reactions of the industrial workers to the civil disobedience movement. Answer: the industrial workers did not participate in the civil disobedience movement in large numbers except in the Nagpur region, Nagpur in Maharashtra. Number 2, but in spite of that, some workers did participate in the civil disobedience movement, selectively adopting some of the ideas of the Gandhian program, like boycott of foreign goods as part of their own movements against low wages and poor working conditions. Point number 3, there were strikes by railway workers in 1930 and dock workers in 1932. Point number 4, in 1930, thousands of workers in Chota Nagpur tin mines wore Gandhi caps and participated in protest rallies and boycott campaigns. But the Congress was reluctant to include workers' demands as part of its program of struggle. It felt that this would alienate industrialists and divide the anti-imperial forces. Okay, in such way, there were some group of people whose quantity was very much less who had participated in the civil disobedience movement which was started under the leadership of Mahatma Gandhi ji, but most of the people did not become the part of this movement. Okay, and even Congress was also not ready to support to this to solve the problem of the industrial workers as industrialists were having great support from the side of the Congress. Let's move on the next slide. Explain women participation in the civil disobedience movement. Okay, here we have to discuss about women's participation. Answer: point number 1, another important feature of the civil disobedience movement was the large scale participation of women. During Gandhiji's salt march, thousands of women came out of their homes to listen to him. Point number 2, they saw participated in protest marches, manufactured salt and picketed foreign cloth and liquor shops. Many went to jail. Point number 3, in urban areas, these women were from high caste families. In rural areas, they came from rich peasant households. Moved by Gandhiji's call, they began to see service to the nation as a sacred duty of women. And in such way, the women of village area, city area, all of them had participated in huge quantity in the civil disobedience movement because Mahatma Gandhiji had promised to the innocent people, common people of our country, that we are not going to use any weapon against the Britishers, and that's why Britishers will not attack. Nobody can hurt you, and that's why maximum quantity of women had participated in the civil disobedience movement uh, as per the promise given by Mahatma Gandhi ji. Next question. What was the opinion of Gandhiji about women's participation in the movements? Now we have to discuss about Gandhiji's opinion about women's participation in the movement. Answer: Gandhiji was convinced that it was the duty of women to look after home and hearth. Here home means you know very well. And hearth means chulha, जिसके ऊपर खाना पकाया जाता है. So Gandhi ji was convinced that it was the duty of women to look after home and hearth, be good mothers and good wives. And for a long time, the Congress was reluctant to allow women to hold any position of authority within the organization. It was keen only to their symbolic presence. It means Mahatma Gandhi was himself thinking that women should not become the part of civil disobedience movement or any other movement in a huge quantity, because their first work is to take care of their family. They should become good mothers and good wives, and that's why for so many years women were not given any responsibility, at the same time respect, in the Indian National Congress session. Okay, let's move on the next. What were the demands of Dalit community people in the civil disobedience movement? We have to discuss about Dalit community people. This was the lowest level community of our country, and these people were badly suffered from the uh, upper caste people, upper caste society of our country. See, what were the demands of Dalit community people in the civil disobedience movement? Point number one: not all social groups were moved by the abstract concept of Swaraj. One such group was the nation's untouchables, who from around the 1930s had begun to call themselves Dalit or oppressed. Okay, this in India, the lower caste people were known as untouchables, and after 1930s, these people started to tell themselves Dalit or oppressed. Point number two: many Dalit leaders were keen on a different political solution to the problems of the community. Point number three: they began organizing themselves, demanding reserved seats in educational institutions and a separate electorate that would choose Dalit members for legislative councils. Point number four: political empowerment, they believed, would resolve the problems of their social disabilities. Dalit participation in the civil disobedience movement was therefore limited, particularly in the Maharashtra and Nagpur region, where their organization was quite strong. In such way, there were some demands from the side of the Dalit community when they wanted to become the part of civil disobedience movement. Especially, they were demanding for the reserved seats in educational institutions and a separate electorate. Its motto was it would choose Dalit members for legislative councils, and these Dalit people will work for the welfare of Dalit community. Okay, these were the expectations of the civil disobedience movement regarding to the case of Dalit community. Next question is, write a short note about the Pune Pact September 1932. Point number one: the Pune Pact refers to an agreement between Dr. B.R. Ambedkar and Mahatma Gandhi on behalf of depressed classes and upper caste Hindu leaders on the reservation of elected seats for the depressed classes in the legislature of British India government. Point number two: it was made on 24 September 1932 at Yerwada Central Jail in Pune in Maharashtra, India. It was signed by Ambedkar on behalf of the depressed classes and Mahatma and Madan Mohan Malviya on behalf of the upper caste Hindus as a means to end the fast that Gandhi was undertaking in jail as a protest against the decision by British Prime Minister Ramsay MacDonald to give separate electorates to depressed classes for the election of members of provincial legislative assemblies in British India. Point number three, they finally agreed upon 147 electorate seats, and in such way, according to Pune Pact, under the leadership of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, the Dalit community people or the untouchables or oppressed class people of our country had got 147 electoral seats in the provincial legislatures, and in such way we can say that whatever wish was having with Dr. Ambedkar, it was fulfilled up to some extent due to the Pune Pact, which had taken place on 24 September 1932 at Yerwada Central Jail in Pune. Let's move on. I'm reading here some important dates which are given in your textbook. 1918, Distressed UP peasants organized by Baba Ramchandra. About this person we have discussed in a detail. April 1919, Gandhian Hartal against Rowlatt Act. Jallianwala Bagh massacre had happened on 30th April 1919. January 1921, Non-Cooperation and Khilafat movement launched. February 1922, Chauri Chaura, Gandhiji withdraws non-cooperation movement. That was the incident of 5th February. Next, May 1924, Alluri Sitaram Raju arrested, ending a 2-year armed tribal struggle, and he was given a capital punishment. December 1929, Lahore Congress. Congress adopts the demand for Purna Swaraj, whose president was Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, and he had asked to the Indian people to celebrate our Independence Day from 26 January 1930. Next point, in 1930, Ambedkar establishes Separate Classes Association. In March 1930, Gandhiji began civil disobedience movement by breaking salt law at Dandi. March 31, Gandhiji ends civil disobedience movement. In December 1931, second roundtable conference had started, and in 1932 one has gone there. In 1932, civil disobedience relaunched because whatever promises were given by the Lord Irwin, it was not fulfilled. At the same time, there were some clashes between Dr. Ambedkar and Mahatma Gandhiji in the second roundtable conference regarding to the separate electorate for Dalit people, and that's why Mahatma Gandhiji became nervous and returned to India. And once more, when he had asked to become the part of the third roundtable conference, at that time he did not participate into that.